if GTA 6 releases like while Fortnite is in this state, we're all jumping ship. Guys, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. Fortnite made a big announcement today, and they announced that they have laid off over 1,000 employees. Over 1,000 employees have been laid off from Fortnite. Today, let me take a look at this. Today, we're laying off over 1,000 Epic employees. I'm sorry, we're here again. The downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025 means we're spending significantly more than we're making. We have to make major cuts to keep the company funded. This layoff, together with over $500 million of identified cost savings in contracting, marketing, and closing some open roles, puts us in a more stable place. So, over 1,000 employees laid off, fired from Fortnite, as well as $500 million in cuts. I'm assuming part of that comes from them deciding to shut down Fortnite Ballistics, Fortnite Festival Battle Stage, and Fortnite Rocket Racing. This paired with the increase V-Bucks costs is a really bad sign. I think we've seen layoffs before in Fortnite. This is like next level. Guys, can I get confirmation? Is Fortnite Festival entirely getting shut down, or is it just the battle stage mode? It's just battle stage. Gotcha. The thing that's so concerning about this, by the way, is that the biggest developers in Fortnite who have helped shape the game and make it what it is, and they're passionate and talented, like Evan, for example. I have seen the amount of work Evan has put into Fortnite. I've had firsthand experience as far as how passionate he is about the game. He's extremely talented. He gets up in the early hours of the morning. He's very skilled at what he does. He helps with live events. He helps with competitive. He helps with pretty much every facet of the game. And they let him go. His tweet has 90,000 likes, 6.5 million views. That's a lot of traction on that. And they let him go. I'm not going to pretend to understand the infrastructure of what's going on at Epic Games, how much money they're making, not making, what employees they have. I'm concerned because a lot of very talented people were let go. And what's left? Like, where are they going with this? Because to me, it's like, are we just going to be running Fortnite at the bare minimum? Are we throwing in the towel? Like, is this it? Like, are we just going to like let Fortnite be profitable at the cost of it ever coming back and like making a comeback? And to me, this looks like throwing in the towel. Like they're giving up. I hope I'm wrong. But to me, it seems like, okay, we're losing money now. We've tried for a few seasons to turn it around. It hasn't turned around. We have to fire everyone and only keep what we need to barely run the game. Because guys, I'm seeing some big names in Fortnite laid off. The artist who created Jonesy was also laid off. The artist who made the Jonesy character was laid off. Developers, community people, like every single part of the company has received layoffs. I'm obviously not knowledgeable as far as like how much Epic is spending, how much they're spending on these collaborations, how much they're spending on UEFN. I will say this. I see a lot of comments online. The first thing people are going for is that Epic has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on UEFN payouts. Okay. Chica with the 89 months. I completely agree. Focus more on the game. They need to focus more on the game. They do. So guys, here's my thought process real quick. Epic has spent hundreds of millions of dollars. I think they've spent $700 million plus on UEFN payouts. So they have paid out people who have made Fortnite maps $700+ million. Full transparency. Obviously, I'm very much into UEFN. I want UEFN to succeed. I have faith that it can grow the platform. However, from the very beginning, I did always feel like Fortnite was paying too much for what was being put out there. And they were trying to incentivize bigger corporations and teams and devs to come into Fortnite and build games that would grow the platform. However, Fortnite was never ready to grow as a platform strictly from UEFN. It was never ready. Even today, it's not ready. Because in order for Fortnite UEFN to be successful, they have to have the same speed and delivery as Roblox. That is like the bare minimum. That is the bare minimum. I can hop into a Roblox game in less than 8 seconds. Okay? I can hop into... I'm in. I just hopped into a random Roblox game in less than 8 seconds. If I want to hop into a Fortnite UEFN map, give me at least 3 minutes before I can get in. Fortnite will never ever pass Roblox if that's what its goal is to be the better Roblox. It will never be a bigger platform if it can't match that speed. It can't, right? I always felt like the revenue they were paying very like from the very beginning was high, and I understand their reasoning. Their reasoning is that now, hold on, just before I continue, I want to say that I don't think UEFN payouts is the sole culprit behind what's going on, but I do want to critique the UEFN payouts real quick. And this is somebody who has generated a few million in revenue from Fortnite maps, from Fortnite sponsorships around maps. It has been a multiple 7-figure driver for me and my team. But I still need to critique it because from the very beginning, Epic knew that they were going to pay tens of millions of dollars for Fortnite 1.0 experiences that were made not for revenue. They were just made from the love of people wanting to make like creative and custom modes in Fortnite. They knew that they were going to pay simple maps like The Pit or Red versus Blue or Zone Wars maps tens of millions of dollars. They knew that. They were hoping, my assumption is they were hoping that very talented developers would come in and they would build very amazing games on Fortnite, and there would be tens of thousands, if not millions of people who are coming to Fortnite to play those amazing games. But every single time someone created a Fortnite UEFN experience that was more elaborate than the basic, maps that were doing well, there were bugs, there were issues, there were issues with moderation. There were all kinds of hurdles. As soon as you start trying to build something that's significant and unique, you have all these issues that you run into, and then you don't have a successful game. So I've seen developers come into Fortnite, they try to build something beyond the Red versus Blues, beyond the simple maps, and those maps don't do well. Those maps have too many issues. Those maps are not even accessible the same way that Roblox maps are. If Fortnite knew that like within a year of UEFN, they were going to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for basic ass maps, and then all the tools would be here and these developers would come in and then people would start making like crazy good games that would actually grow the platform, that's one thing. But we're approaching year 3 of UEFN, and a lot of the top maps are still the maps that we had back in 2020. A lot of the top maps are still the Pit and Red versus Blue and Zone Ward maps. Now we have a few new ones, and I want to touch on the Brain Rot map real quick, because right now the map that's made the most money in the current Fortnite is Steal a Brain Rot. Yes, it's a copy and paste from Roblox, but they went and got the license for it, so you can't hate too much on that, right? They went and got the license, whatever. It's a simple map. There's a lot of AI going on. It is brain rot. It is for the kids for the most part, right? And it does get paid a lot. It gets paid a lot. However, that might be one of the few maps in Fortnite that has actually like grown the platform. It might be. And I'm not defending Steal a Brain Rot. I'm saying like if we want to like target, I don't think we should target specific maps, right? I think the whole system needs an overhaul, but I see a lot of targeting of Steal a Brain Rot. When Steal a Brain Rot does their live events, Fortnite actually gains more players. So all these little bumps that you see, Fortnite player count, these little spikes that you see when Fortnite peaks over 2 million players, That's steal a brain rot live events. So 2 million, 1.2 or 2 million, 2.2 million. Those are steal a brain rot live events. So like this map actually impacts the overall ecosystem of Fortnite in a positive way. Like it does increase the player count. It does get people to spend more V-Bucks and yada yada. Let's put a pin in that. Let's put a pin in UEFN because 2025 is where things really started to go downhill. 2025, there was less engagement in Fortnite. As a content creator, I saw that happen as well. I saw that in 2025. I think 2025 was one of my, I don't want to say one of my worst years as a content creator, but it's probably one of my worst years out of my last 4. And it was nowhere near like 2024 or 2023. So there was a huge dip. There was a huge dip in interest in Fortnite, in viewership, in engagement, and then there was a huge dip in player count for a while. Okay. We saw Fortnite not hit 1 million players multiple times in 2025 in a day. A lot of people start playing less. People start playing other games. Battle Royale in general lost a lot of motion. Here's where I have like a little bit of a problem. When Fortnite increased the cost of V-Bucks, a lot of people were very upset. I'll tell you this. I was not as upset as most people were. Okay. And it's not because I get skins for free. I don't get skins for free. I'm marketing the skins and my payment is getting the skins. But if Epic actually paid me like a fair marketing value, they would have to pay me a lot more, right? Than just giving me the skins. The reason why I wasn't as upset about the V-Bucks increase is I was thinking long term, Fortnite needs this extra revenue. And they're making a play of increasing the V-Bucks price to keep their team, to keep the core team, and to build on Fortnite and try to climb out of the pit that they are in. Clearly, they're in a pit. Clearly, they're hurting. And I was okay with that. I was willing to accept, okay, the V-Bucks prices are higher. People are upset about this, but they'll get over it if you deliver on good content. But then they went on and fired 1,000 people with the combination of the V-Bucks increase, with the combination of closing off certain games. And now I'm like, oh shit. Like this is like, where is the good news? Where's the good news? Where is the like, we have to do this so that we can do this. They're basically telling us we have to do this just to survive. We have no plans beyond surviving and not closing shop completely. And that's not exciting. And that's not good news. The reason why I'm not talking about the collabs, I'm like, oh, the collabs are awful, we should stop doing collabs, is because I actually don't know. They actually might, like the collabs might actually be a net positive in terms of revenue for the company. We don't know that. But I do think that like, if I'm just having to take a guess, I'm just taking an educated guess here, I'm not pretending to know, that the collaborations actually makes Fortnite money, and that's why they spam collaborations, because it makes money. It's awful. And I think what really hurts, and this is why you always have to be careful what you say. Like, I know there's that quote from Tim Sweeney talking about their lawsuit with Apple and Google and whatnot. And he said that like, it's costing us like billions to fight this fight. And then I think the guy asked him, are you guys worried about running out of money? And he's like, no, like this would have to go on for decades for us to be in financial trouble. That was probably a bad quote. That's probably not the right thing to say, considering where we're at right now. Because do we have the money or do we not? It seems like we don't. But maybe we thought we did. But seems like no, we don't. The only good news that I can personally give is that thank God GTA 6 is not out right now. And it's not coming out anytime soon, right? We still got some time. Because if GTA 6 releases like while Fortnite is in this state, we're all jumping ship. Every creator I know is going to jump ship. And a lot of people are going to just go, right? Do we know if GTA 6 is going to live up to hype? We don't know, but everyone's ready for something new. And if Fortnite is not delivering, people will jump hard, okay?